Hi everyone and welcome. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Friday, July 29th, 2022, and the topic for the day is called Sky Bifrost or Rainbow Bridge, the Shift. And actually the word I think technically is the correct pronunciation is Bifrost or Bifrost, something like that. Anyway, it's a little bit of a play on the Norse mythology about the Rainbow Bridge, and lately in the entertainment industry, of course, they've come out with the Thor movies, which talk about the Bifrost and the kind of the bridge from Asgard to Midgard or Middlegard. Anyway, we're going to see in the show coming up that I looked up to the southwestern skies and saw this huge swath of a spectrum, sky spectrum we'll call it, because it wasn't rainbow, there was no curve in it. It was straight across level. I've never seen anything like it. So we'll get to that coming up in the show. Also, we've got this really curious thing, triangular form happening at B.2. So we'll take a better look at all of this coming up. But we are going to have a little bit of a sky spectrum theme going on in the show. And I also, if you've looked at any of my other previous shows, I did decide to toy a little bit, play with the whole idea of the YouTube shorts. And so this ties into one of my latest ones where I show a little glimpse of this in video form, of this incredible rainbow swath going across the sky. Actually, not a rainbow, I'll just call it a sky spectrum. And anyway, let's get into it. Hopefully you enjoyed the shorts as well. I'm just playing around with different formats. Alright, so let's just get into the show. This is an alternate cover slide I had, which this shows more of like what was going on in my little shorts about this. And actually, I know at the bottom I'm saying July 28th. It is July 29th. I did plan on getting this out yesterday, but it didn't happen, so there. Alright, here's another alternative cover slide that you'll see coming up. There's also another spectrum of a different kind hitting this cloud one day. It was really bizarre. Also in the western sky on a different day. So we'll get into that as well. Alright, and before we do, I want to include a Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day page. This time I deliberately picked this card. It wasn't by chance or random in quotes as I pull other cards. This one I did go into a deck and pull it out deliberately because I just remembered this reminded me of the whole spectrum theme and this level, rainbow, we'll call it, or sky spectrum coming across this way. And this comes from the Mystical Shaman or Shaman Oracle deck by, I'm just say the last names, Violdo, Baron Reed, Lobos, and illustrated by Del Gotalia. And I'm going to just read an excerpt straight from the companion book on it, and then we'll get into the sky observations portion of the show. So this is just called The Rainbow, and it starts off with the essence, and it says, "The rainbow symbolizes the 7 steps of a true spiritual path, which manifest as the colors of the 7 chakras. In the Himalayas, the rainbow body is seen as the full realization of our essence. The rainbow also represents the bridge between the physical and the spiritual worlds. At the end of our lives, we can journey across the rainbow bridge to the highest heavenly realms. When the rainbow appears, it is an affirmation that all is well, and you are in right relationship with Spirit." So I can't do better than that. I'm not going to go into the symbolism today, but I will give a little reminder, the symbolism on the card, but I'll give a little reminder that for this, it says number 41. That could also be a number 5, if that means anything to you. I always send everyone over to the Australian blog site called Joanne Sacred Scribes, and just go check it out. She gives all the positive meanings of these numbers. And in the background here, I just pulled some of my crystals. I got some new crystals in, and they seem to fit with all of the various colors, like with the spectrum or the rainbow. Alright, so let's get into the sky observations portion of the show. I'm not going to go give my little typical intro of what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it. I invite you to look at any of the numerous shows way back that tell you exactly what I'm doing and why and how. And you'll get the gist anyway if you're new as I move along. So if you are new or returning to the show, I thank you so much for being here. Welcome. Heartfelt thanks to you. And I hope all is well in your world right now. And let's have a look at what's going on in the skies over Miami, the anomalies, the really weird stuff that I caught in the span of the days. The time frame was between July 22nd and July 25th. I have to do a little bit of catch up on 2 weeks worth of other sky observations that I'll put into the next show. But I really wanted to push this one out to just capture that extraordinary sky spectrum, which we'll get to. These are just chronological, as we move through the show. Anyhow, this is just in a park looking over to the western sky, and I noticed this just looked really strange. Again, I look at, if you looked at it in my previous shows, I look at things like trajectories, especially when things are moving in opposing directions, such as this. I look at color signatures in the sky, also obviously different shapes and things that we see that could be cloak and craft and other things happening. And so that's when you see in the lower right-hand corner, when I put cloud in quotes, that means I'm suspecting cloaking craft going on. I will just say something that I always say. The cloaking material I suspect to be something like plasma that can cling to objects and hang around in the sky forever. That's just going to be my little go-to word for it. So anyway, we're going to put some enhancement on this to see what else is going on with a little bit better view. That it draws it out, highlights it. And look at here. We have something crossing perpendicular to each other. That does not happen in a normal cloud form. So because this is denser and doing something that clouds don't normally do organically, I'm going to call that a cloaking craft. And with plasma kind of clinging to the edges around it. This thing too looks like a separate craft, maybe going up this way because it's got a totally different trajectory than this, going off on a totally different angle. And it also looks like it might be connected to something going on down here, or this is just a separate craft in its own right as well, which I suspect is the case. And then this is going off in this direction. So there are also other dark shadowy figures going on in here to suggest there might be a much larger craft above. Anyway, see what you think, especially when we get down to E.1, F.1, there's this weird like I, capital I shape, Roman letter, Roman numeral letter, I. Very strange. So we're going to go and zoom in a bit. So now we're going to zoom in a bit, and here we go. Look at F.3. Look at this. It's too perfect and symmetrical just to be a haphazard cloud, and it looks like it has kind of plasma, cloaking material clinging around the edges of it. And then we've got other strange shapes happening in here. Again, they look too deliberate with design to them just to be cloud material, especially when we get over here in this area by D.3. We see some shadow happening beyond, kind of under some of this stuff to show that this has some density to it. And that line kind of continues on. And then what's this over here where my cursor is? That's a very well-defined shape, like a stick. So to me, this is cloaking craft with different various levels of cloaking coming in or going, phasing in and out of the scene. And we're seeing like a machine part here. Anyway, see what you think. Also this here, this really straight edged curve happening, just all spells out too much deliberate stuff going on. Like I think this is an overall triangular form, more or less of some type of craft. See what you think though. But F.3 is the really kind of the dead giveaway that we've got stuff with structure, with intelligent design happening. All right, now we're going to look to the west. I think it's on a different day, and the main thing that I'm capturing on the left-hand side here is the original. The right is the enhanced version. On the left-hand side, this caught my attention, looking like yet another kind of chemtrail type thing happening. But the more I looked at the photo at sea, I start to see an imprint of a triangular form. So to the right, we see that even more. There's a whole bunch of curiosities happening in this scene. Not only the color signatures where we get the red happening beyond, if that's like the artificial tech going on with the sun, more than likely. But also we have all weird different like flurry and flustered movements in here in the foreground. Oh, also pardon if you hear really kind of crazy people screaming or frogs or other kind of noises outside because I'm recording outside tonight. All right, now I'm going to go back one, so keep your eye on C.1 where my cursor's zooming around there. And that's what I see. I see this triangular imprint. So I'm going to go back just so maybe you can see it too. If you look to the right-hand side around C.1, that's what I'm seeing. All right, now we're going to keep moving. This is looking north on a different day, and a really strange stuff happening in this scene. If we look at A and B on the left-hand side, we've got something, a little round thing. Then we've got these like streaks, something that looks like a chemtrail, partial chemtrail. Then we look down at C and D, and it looks like something zoomed up out of this little pocket. And just strange stuff and textures happening around at C with this weird like arc piece. So we look to the right at the enhanced version. I can't really pull too much out more of A and B, what's going on. But we are going to look down and concentrate view on C and D, C.1, D.1. Because already I start to see a pure triangular form here with like a what do I want to say? It's got like a bar, like a bent bar attached to this and whatever's going on over here. And definitely something's happening, some kind of activity around D.1, because it just looks like something sprang up out of there. So we're going to zoom in a little bit more at the C and D elements. And I think you can still see it with me. Here's the triangular form. It looks like an embossed triangle or bas-relief triangle. Something else is happening here with some, definite parallel lines. Looks very structured. And look at this arm, this bent arm going over to this triangle between that and this other piece. So I got to say there's some type of craft, maybe multiple, like 3 different craft going on there. And then something here looks like it's like a lid lifting off so that something here can zoom out. But see what you see in that scene. We're going to look at it one more time because I just thought it was really weird. Look at this. Look at these lines. They're too perfect to be, just regular organic cloud. Looks like something's cloaking under there. And then D.3, it's actually better. You can see it on the right-hand side. Look at, we have two little sticks that are parallel. And anytime we've got straight edges going contrary to the movement of everything else, especially when it's parallel to each other, that tells me there's intelligent design happening in here. Now, is that just we're getting a glimpse of a cockpit and that's the rest of a craft, or are these just like, I don't know, like guns or fins or something coming off, like parts and pieces of a craft that we happen to see at the tail of it? I don't know. See what you think, like pipes. But then here again, I see a perfect triangular form. Maybe you do too. And this just looks too, again, too engineered to be haphazard. Looks like rigid metallic material. See what you think is going on in that scene, though. Also weird stuff happening here. Looks like a little piece of like a craft or maybe some type of instrumentation flying up out of this thing, while we have a stick-like thing coming over here, straight edge. Very curious, all of it. See what you see in that scene. Now here we go to letter A, is where we've got that little curved spectrum piece. So to the naked eye, the sun just looked really glaring and artificial. But this was a really clear and bright rainbow spectrum type thing. Actually, it lit up more of the sky, but by the time I could pull the car over to get a picture, it had just reduced to being, illuminating this part with the spectrum. Also up here, we've got like very defined points, weird things going on all over the place. The sky just felt like it had a lot of craft cloaking all over. Anyway, with enhancement, here we go. We see that curve. What is going on here? That's nothing natural to be so precise and perfect of a curve. Looks like something else is happening here with structure, behind it, like on another level or dimension, or phasing in and out. But see what you see in there. Here's one more zoom up on this thing. Look how strange. What do you think is going on? All right, now we get to the piece I really wanted to talk about, the view. This is on July 25th, almost 3 in the afternoon. And I was helping a neighbor with stuff outside, and I just looked over to the west, and I could not miss this. I wish the picture could do it justice to the full glory that it was in person. It was pretty amazing, and these clouds started to come in to conceal it. This is like zooming up straight in front of it. This is going to be that triangular piece that you see on the cover. So this started like zooming up in front of it, and then other clouds moved in to kind of camouflage and conceal it from view. But this thing spanned the entire western horizon, above the horizon, western view. It went behind this cloud and all the way down this way. And it was pretty wide and pretty amazing. So this was to the naked eye, and then with sunglasses on, it was even more extraordinary. But anyway, here's with some enhancement. So here we see that triangular piece, and look at, you see the trajectory, this vapor trail of it going straight up. So it looks like a craft to me. And then we've got that spectrum behind it. Now, what's also interesting is that if we look at back here, if we look at the outline, these little, these little tufts, these little like, they look like little dashes or hyphens as they move around. This could also be the outline of some type of large triangular craft. That's what it looks like to me, especially when you get in here. It looks like the point. And then that looks like a triangular form. So that could be a craft down below, and that we're seeing this thing popping off the deck of a craft or something. But see what you think. Here we're going to zoom in and really push the enhancement on it so we can kind of see what's going on. We've got some denser object in here hiding under whatever that is. And then we've got that spectrum. It's really amazing. Here's just another type of cloud form. So we saw that triangular form zoom up, and then it starts to morph and change and grow into even more, of whatever this stuff is. It's not cloud, because no natural cloud systems go shooting up vertical as they're coming across horizontal. So we know that's some type of foreign thing creating that movement. And then here we go. It almost looks like a dolphin, if that's the nose of the dolphin here in the head, and the curved body like springing up out of the ocean. It's really beautiful, actually, as a composition. And then here is that part where it's springing upward, and with extreme enhancement. I just wanted to get at this thing, if it's a craft like I was suspecting. These little kind of dashes, these little like hyphen things with a point. This really looks very well engineered. And I think a bigger craft was being cloaked, and again, that this thing was springing up out of it, not just out of thin air. All right, here's another view of that beautiful swath. It was really extraordinary. So what is this? I did a little, tongue-in-cheek thing. Is it the Bifrost or Bifrost? Since the current Thor movies are out, at least here in the U.S., I guess in Europe as well. but also the idea that it's a bridge. And what's a bridge? It's pretty level. So in the movies, the latest comic movies they have out, they have it always like shooting upward. But when we think of a bridge, it really is horizontal. And so it's a very intriguing concept. And if you look at, for the shift part of my title in this whole show, the shift, some say that there'll just be a wave of either kind of a translucent effect, kind of a very interesting effect of a spectrum that you just start to see in one of the horizons, or maybe to the south or to the east, and all of a sudden it moves through your house or moves through wherever you're standing. And then all of a sudden we shift this whole planet from 3D to 5D, a more heavenly consciousness and state. And if that's the case, that would be beautiful. And so this kind of reminds me of that effect, that something would just come across level. And so anyway, see what you think is going on here. But I've never seen a quote-unquote rainbow be completely flat like that. So if you have any interesting ideas, let me know in the comment section below if you feel like it. Okay, and here's with enhancement, so you can just really see it. It's amazing. It could also be a craft. I do have in a previous show called Skies Above, you see a very clear, simple, little kind of oval or ellipsoidal craft sitting on the rim of a cloud. This is a massive, though. So who knows? Maybe we're just catching the rim of a very massive ship up in the sky. More extraterrestrial of origin. Who knows? Again, see what you think. All right, now we're going to look west-southwest in the afternoon, and this again caught my attention because again we've got different movement, different trajectories of this coming this way, this moving off this way, where letter D is, something happening in here between A, B, and E. So we're going to look with enhancement, and there's a lot going on in here. So we've got this movement over here. What's going on at D.1? It has a warmer signature, kind of like a little bit of pink and red happening in there, peach color. And then this looks like a standalone thing. Look at A.1. It looks like a perfect curve around here, maybe a spherical thing happening. Hard to say, or this is just kind of framing whatever craft or something happening in here at B.1. So, are we looking at something and this is just all plasma around it? Or is this the thing at A.1? Or it's A.1 plus an object behind it? It could be any number of things. See what you see. Also down here I see like the end of a pipe. It looks like something's coming out of it. There's a rim here, a very clear rim, and a pipe going off this way. So what I'm going to say is there's absolutely cloak and craft happening in here in a way we can't quite see, but it's happening all over the place. Because look, even here, this line, there's something else happening at E.1 that looks like it's attached to it, like arms coming down to it. So there's structure in there all over the place. All right, then we're looking west, and what caught my attention was the halo. Looked like another artificial halo around an artificial white glaring sun. And we look to the right, and we can see that ring even clearer. See up here it's red. Coming around down here, we see a clear, perfect circle. All right, now we're going to look west again, and what caught my attention here was, look at this. This cloud is going straight up and down, more or less, while this is kind of growing and doing its own thing. What's pretty remarkable here is that clouds just, at least I've lived on this planet for decades, and I know this area well, and I've never seen clouds do this, nor their origins be so low in altitude in the sky, and then do all these other things. And then beyond it is that rainbow spectrum. It's starting to fade a bit, but all of this was starting to spring up to conceal that spectrum going across, and because I observed this while it was happening. See the spectrum happening beyond at 8.1, and all of this just started flaring up, seemingly up out of nowhere, to prevent the view of that to the west. And then something weird's happening way up above, because that's a totally different type of cloud form yet again. Even though all of this is generally in the same altitude and vicinity, there should not be all this crazy movement, especially when it was a relatively windless day. All right, now we're looking here too. Very different cloud form types, which give me the suspicion that there's cloak and craft going on. Because look at this very feathery, strange-looking thing, very wisp-like. And then we've got gray clouds. We even have parallel lines here, more or less. And we have something else happening beyond. So very strange cloud development all in one area. And now with enhancement, we can see why. Because can you not see at C.1, it's a triangular shape. And there's a triangular shape here at B.1 and at A.1 as well. Perfect triangles, even one over here. And then this is its own little animal with a different color signature. And it looks like there's a pipe, kind of two pipes sticking out of this thing. So watch with the next slide, watch A, B, and C, because I did put, actually it's going to be in the next one. the one following this. We go up here, I suspect the 3 triangles. I put the brightness on even more to get at those 3 triangles, and then I've gone ahead and I traced over them so you can see it too if you didn't see it earlier. So I'm going to go back one. Those are the 3 triangles I'm looking at, and I just traced over so maybe you can see it too if you didn't already. Okay? Alright, now we're going to look to the south, and this was really strange. This is a massive tree over here to the left, but this started to open up like a window in the middle of this weird cloud assembly. Again, doesn't look like typical cumulus clouds of this area. This is over the skies of Miami, a very hot subtropical to tropical climate, and clouds just usually never form this way until in the recent years. So we look to the right, and with enhancement we start to see now, look at this, like peach, red pink color signature, and it's even brighter in the center. And we see it here too. It's like there's a self-illumination going on in here. And that's what it felt like just by, feel of what was going on. And I do invite you to look at the description box below to see what could be causing that red-pink color signature. And then we're going to zoom in on it a little. So actually I'm going to go back one. So as I looked on the left hand, that's the original. The right, we get some, with the enhancement, we see a little bit more. Now I saw like a triangular form in there and stuff that looked too structured and rigid just to be haphazard, wafted in cloud material. So I zoom in even more. So we look on the left hand side at 8.2. With enhancement, look at that's a pure top of a triangular form. And this looks very rigid down here as well. So we look to the right, that's just my best guess at what's going on. So I just see like a triangular form on the top, another triangular form on the angle. Again, the plasma is just kind of wafting in front of it. And then this got really curious over here because I really zoomed in to try to look at it. There's a very straight line. If you look on the left-hand side, straight line coming this way. And when I went to the right-hand side, the more I looked, it was actually a symmetrical form. And again, we're not going to have geometry with straight edges and call that a natural, organically created cloud. That means that there's tech of some kind going on there. In there, can I tell you exactly what it is and what origin? If it's strictly ET or some other entities, is it a collaboration with even, human, military, things like that? No idea. I'm just going to call it ET, of ET origin for now. What it's doing there, I have no idea. See if you have any good ideas on that. All right, now this also looks strange. Looking to the south, things are breaking up a little, but look at this. This is going straight up, doing its own thing. This is kind of morphing and going off on a different angle. And again, we didn't have wind this day, so there's no reason that things would be going vertical and yet off on an angle. And then we got pure white of something happening kind of beyond all of this. It was just strange, and it gets even stranger with enhancement because look at the color signatures. We think, oh, that was just some white cloud beyond, even though it's strange, it would be a different color than everything else. But look, it has its own energy and power signature or something to just turn that red-orange while everything else stays in cool scheme like blues and greens. It's very telling something's going on right there. So we're going to zoom in a little more, and I start to see like a very clear elliptical shape with some straight edges in there, so there might be intelligent design happening. And then look at lowercase bb. This looks more triangular in form, so definitely something's going on within this particular piece alone. And then we get a long, straight, skinny, very kind of hard form down here as well. So I'm venturing to say there's cloak and craft absolutely going on in there. See what you think. Here I'm going to take all color out of it to see if we can see it in a better way. Again, I do see this hard outline of something that looks engineered, and that this is coming in on a different angle to it, and this as well. So I still see it. Hopefully you can too. All right, now we're going to look at this. We're looking south, and not only do I see it letter C, like triangular looking quote-unquote clouds with strange things coming off of them, but we also look up at A, and I'm again watching the rim keenly on all of these clouds because that's where I sometimes see craft if you look at some of my previous shows. So I saw something bursting out here, so look at that again. You don't have a cloud. This isn't even a normal cumulus cloud, but even if it were, it looks very artificial. But even if it were, you wouldn't have anything like flinging up out of it, unless there was some type of craft involved. And I do see it over here at 8.1 in the enhanced version. To me, it looks like there is something sitting there. See what you think. We're going to zoom in even more on it just to see if we can see anything else. And I start to see rigid forms, maybe some holes, things with structure to them. So I'm going to venture to say something is cloaking in here. See what you think, though. And then I'm just really blowing it out and exaggerating the contrast just to see if we can see anything else. But what's more telling is that, this blue stuff is slightly different than whatever's going on with the white stuff. Anyway, see what you see in all of this. We're going to zoom in one more time real close. This is where I start to see structure. That looks like a triangular form to me. And then, we got some of these holes. It just overall looks like something is morphing and changing. This also looks like something else is happening right here. And it has some, very clean structure to it. Anyway, see what you see. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show, so thank you for looking over at things here a while with me. This is a samurai, or perhaps it's a Chinese warrior. I'm not very sure. But either way, this was included in one of my shorts, also my little shorts YouTube attempt to show some stuff. And he did at one time stand with a sword, but due to vandalism, I think somebody stole the guy's sword. But anyway, he looks pretty peaceful, and it's an amazing kind of piece of concrete sculpture from way back when, I think in the 60s, 1960s. All right, well, anyway, that's it for now, and we'll keep seeing where the show goes. I'm trying to mix things up a little bit between the shorts and whatever strikes me to do. And so for right now, I wish you, as always, tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.